them, or even explore the different worlds. Not so strict parents, or even just being alone. But not just that, not just human perspectives. I want to experience the world from a grasshopper's point of view. Watching giants laughing and playing in the park as the other insects collect their shares of food. Trees glistening in spring, or maybe even the old redwood, watching a child grow and mature as time goes by.
Oh, wow. That's so cute. Okay, let's see. Alright. Number 9. I want to get sick tattoos. This body is a vessel for us to purely exist in, so why not make it into art? I can already see it now. A portrait of my childhood dog on my shoulder. He was a Shiba named Caesar. A fine line of Michelangelo on my lower calf.
The turtle?
Obviously the turtle. Ooh, can't forget about the black work ball flail on my thigh. That'll look great. And yeah, I know that like after a few years they'll eventually fade, but like that's the beauty of it all. To grow old with these marks that remind you of the past, sitting around a table with friends and showing them what you got merely because you had $200 to spend. Peering through wrinkled skin to see the person that they once were and the person that they become.
I got it. 8. I want to put my mind to rest. I'd hold her hand as I guide her out the dark room she's been held in for so many years. She'd understand what it's like to stretch and breathe air different to the one she's accustomed to. She'd see the world outside the lens that were her own 2 eyes, and she'd realize that her worries could drift off into a breeze, dispersing into the atmosphere. She'd unclench all her tense muscles, holding on to any doubt she had left.
It's okay! We love you!
And I hope she feels comfortable in my arms as I take her to bed. I give her the peace she's been searching for, lifting the weight of the world off her.
That was so deep.
Thank you.
Okay, 7. I want to fall in love.
Ooh.
Not like that. Not with a person, not even in a romantic way. I want to fall in love with living. I want to fall in love with the stars and watch them twinkle hello to me every night. Gossip with the moon about the joys of life. Or maybe even call my mom and tell her that I learned how to skip rocks. Or that I'll rewatch the dumb movie like Jump Street, which I've seen 10 times already. Or that I learned how to relearned how to ride a bike. And no, I do not know how to keep my balance on the bike. Loser.
That's so fitting for you. Let's see, number 6?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I want to party. If that wasn't already obvious. No. Mardi Gras, Carnival, Dias de los Muertos, all celebrations of this glorious life that we must cherish until we can't anymore. Meeting people that are convinced to be your new best friends just to forget about each other the next day. Dancing the night away like a modern sequel of Footloose, even though the dance would be nowhere near as good. The hours blending into one, stuck in a haze of euphoria, feeling as though I could stay there forever. A halt in my breath and warmth in my heart. Music pushes against my body, sending waves through my system. Throat clogged, either from bliss or overstimulation, I couldn't tell you.
5. I want to experience sunrises and sunsets. Rays of orange and yellow beaming on my face gently urge me to wake up. I want to turn around and bury myself in my sheets as the warmth engulfs me. I want to stare into warm horizons with a smile on my face as I reminisce on the times when staring meant escaping, but I've given it a new meaning. Staring is appreciating what life has given me. Staring is remembering what life has taught me. I want to get lost in my thoughts, but instead of hearing static inside my head, I'd hear what it means to be at peace.
Okay, what number are we on? 4. Okay, 4. I want to let go. No, that doesn't mean that I have given up or that I no longer care. It just means that I'm trying to release attachments to the past that got in the way of my health and mental clarity. Letting go is the unbinding and disentangling of old behavior patterns that pulled me into worry. When you can be okay with things going a certain way, life begins again. Making peace with the past can open you up to love and adventure and allow you to apply the lessons you have learned with a new calmness.
Wow, that was deep for you.
I know, that's very unnatural for you. Okay, number 3. I want to figure out who I am. What am I meant to do in this life?
Live.
I would hope so. Maybe I'll dye my hair a crazy color, buy an electric guitar, and run away with my wild rock band. We'll travel the country, touring from New York to LA. Every night we'll play until the sun comes up. Fans screaming our names like it's the only thing they know how to do. Mascara running down our faces as we all share a look of relief. Or maybe I'm meant to live in a cottage in the woods somewhere. One near a small river where I can cool off during the summer. I'll wake up every morning to the sun caressing my skin and hummingbirds outside my window.
Chirp, chirp.
Hummingbirds don't make that sound, but I'm glad you contributed. Tending to my garden of tiger lilies, burlesque dahlias, and heliconias. Every afternoon I play in the grass and I attempt to pick up pictures from the clouds. Or maybe I don't have to choose. A little bit of everything doesn't sound so bad.
Wow. Guys, this might be a shocker, but I want to find my person.
You?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Someone who would do laundry with me. In a world that's so fast-paced and eager to find thrill in every moment, I want to put a stop to the daily rush and walk at a pace that I hope they follow me at. A pace where we're walking in synchronization because we understand that there's more to life than adrenaline-filled joy. We'll find happiness in my wrinkled clothes. We'll bond over a dirty plate. They admire me as I tie my shoe, crouched on one knee, because what I do for them is what they do for me. I reconstruct our conception of time only if they'd share it with me, creating a connection in our mundane lives.
1. I'd like to experience the greatest joys that life has to offer, which is
Money!
Family,
love,
Money!
friends,
love,
passion, like I don't. Like, come on, man.
My Theseus. We're past the sassafras. You'll find a cord of cotton leading through the rhododendron, quite the wide paths, and down the rolling depth, nettles ensue. You're in the labyrinth now, my acres mine, so notice not the husk of gardens gone, the wagon stuck in morning glory's twine, the curtains hung by over this grove been drawn. Unearth the spade to pry the compost lid, and walk the scent of me you might recall. Be near to hear my final wish I bid, to whisk your corporal form into my thrall. What lacks in soil beds I must amend, with victims fresh to till a perfect blend.
You once said that our love feels like 2 ancient oak trees planted too close together, roots intertwined, branches barely brushing. We leach the nutrients from our shared soil, leaving us both malnourished and half dead. We are destructive, ravenous in our pursuits to grow our roots in soil intoxicated by men, the only soil we have left. We are destructive, yet our limbs carry intricate nests full of life, and they bend and they bow, fruitful and heavy. You have always been taller, and I have always tried to leave your shadow to reach the sun first, and you have always been greedy, but I always thought I had enough to give. What about the shade we provide that gives home to devotion and sentiment? We are grounded in the sediment that makes it unattainable to unearth ourselves. And I know you wish to be replanted in a place without the embodiment of our love, without memories of bare winters, cold and shivering, of blooming springs and blossoming summers, somewhere without the saplings we got on our knees and planted together hand over hand. But you forget. We are oaks, bound to be for years to come. Someday, I hope our decomposing bodies will play host to tantalizing flowers, that our love will culminate in carnations, to be picked by two young lovers seeking affirmation.
I am waiting for the violins to join in. I am waiting for this fading orchestra, once clapped for, once smiled at, once promising, to pound its way out of my eardrums like the sacred silence of a ballroom waits to be devoured by a brilliant piano key. Waiting to fall apart at the first draw of bows across taut, tendon heartstrings. I am traveling at night, visiting moonlit galleries, priory cloisters, trundling carts of fish hooks and poems and twine and sinew and sextants and dissonant bronze bells. There is a beach in Rabat and a canvas anointed with oils and a lilting, scintillating laugh, savory and tender as painted sand. The beach gives way to a lighthouse, a sibilant cliff where the water ebbs, shaking and solvent over the rocks, and a shell near the base of the lighthouse, an ocean trawling eccentricity, unmoving. I am waiting to discover what remains when all garments have been divested. I am waiting to write you a letter, but it's just started to snow. I am finding an ending, alone and empty, unburdened and clear. A season of sickness, an admission of madness, a counting of the dead. I am waiting for winter, because I will be home then. Right? Yeah.
8 years ago, two siblings huddled over a sketchbook. One 7, one only 5. At home, they'd play together with action figures, stuffed animals, Lego bricks, trading cards, gross, dirty sticks on the ground, making their stories in their own little world. Their favorite thing, though, was the 2011 Nintendo Wii. From Lego Star Wars to Wii Play, used Super Mario Bros. To whip out the game. Away from home, though, they had no Pokemon cards or Mario Kart. All they had was this sketchbook, and this moment started pretty much everything. The sketchbook, a green disposable Melissa and Doug spiral, started as just random jottings of the older siblings' ideas. Crayon drawings of turtles pooping, pencil sketches of Donald Trump going mute, random portraits of intrusive thoughts gaining a body. Normal things for a 7-year-old, don't worry. At this moment, though, sketchbook became a little more. Together, both siblings sat down and decided we want to make a Pokemon fan game. Each child drew 2 characters and a monster for the story, which they later called Pokemon Power Cube, later changed to Pokemon Spring and Autumn, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Until some loser called Nintendo stole that idea. The story and world of this were developed for the next 3 years, until the siblings, now 11 and 8, decided this idea was just too good and also fairly too edgy to be some knockoff Pokemon. So it became its own thing. For the past 8 years, my little brother, there, and I have shared a dream of making a video game together. In 6th grade, I decided dreaming just wasn't doing it for me, so I began brainstorming on a smaller, individual project to prepare us to eventually make this dream game. I never actually did development on any of these ideas until last summer when my brand new and very own Microsoft Windows computer, I annoyed my mom until she let me download a program called RPG Maker MV. From there, I did a bunch of kind of complicated and long to explain game dev stuff. I don't think I have time to explain that. I'm just going to say I did stuff. That stuff made a game, and now I guess I'm kind of proud. I've gone through a lot the past several months. Files randomly deleting, obscure Windows 11 system errors, 5-hour-long calls with HP tech support, and of course, being far too occupied with Cornell notes and creative writing assignments to actually do any development. However, I persevered, and without further ado, please enjoy this featured trailer.
None of the men in my life have read Little Women, so they do not know what it means to be one. What does it mean to be a woman? They do not always know what I'm thinking. All of the flowers in my bedroom could be made of plastic and they would never realize, but I have been too preoccupied with complaining to explain. Oh my God, I have grown perpetually bored with echoing myself. Though my family has always been kind to me, this is the dilemma. How then can I account for wanting to be twisted into an expansion, dissolving so quietly that not even the earth could hear? I cry at the dinner table and choke on my words, and well, all words have to come from somewhere. I can see an unused postcard in front of me, a pen on the counter, a half-empty glass, a half-full glass, chip polish on my bitten fingernails, and a sign above me that reads, "Home is where your family is." I am not a woman, but only because I think I do not yet have the stomach for it. What does this make me? I have traced long, elusive tunnels, my pride thick and spiteful, but I am lost either way. I cannot see an exit out of the other end of shame, this fiendishly pleasurable, monstrously desirable, antagonizingly languorous, paralyzingly beautiful shame. The shame to be seen as a waste of a woman, or worse, to be obsessive. This body is just another passable machine. There is no name. There is certainly no effusive display. I can feel my skin, barely, beneath my perspiring palms. My feet are stationed on varnished wood. The inside of my cheek burns every time I bite down, and my collar is hermetic around my choked voice. I have practiced what to say for so long that there is no time left to say what I mean. Trapped in a voyeuristic relationship with my own agony, I pray that there is still time for someone to reach this evanescing body. In the dictionary, there are 16 definitions for the word body. What if I become so debatable that no one will know how to describe me? I can hear my pants rub together as I move my legs. A siren outside, 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 and the hitch of my breath as I breathe in, breathe out. There are picture frames on the wall and nothing inside of them, except the divider in the middle, I suppose, but last night I dreamt that I dry heaved into my father's hand so violently that shards of glass came up my throat after he asked why I am so relentlessly for truth these days. I tried to put the pieces back together, a puzzle so blood-stained that I could still taste the sinew when I woke. Yes, I will keep these glass-filled frames intact and on display for everyone to see. I can smell burning. There's a fire somewhere. And a lingering fragment of my mother's perfume from a previous embrace. There's a fire somewhere. If I am not a woman, then I think I might be another form of prey. This is the certain eternity of a woman's oblivion. Slung up in a butcher shop or propped for a photograph, it requires no training, no lifetime practice. The road is wide. Stand back, aim, watch my eyes plead, be alacritous. I can taste the letters. I might have swallowed them by accident. There is so much that is flammable in this house. Feel the doorknob. I did not mean to put this much emphasis on words that signify hope. Drunk and devoted, I remembered speaking with a passion that no cradled longing has yet diminished. I think I remember now. To murder, simply forget what you are killing is human. There's a fist around my neck, closing tighter, tighter, like any good woman should. I am learning to lose everything gracefully.
Hey, Warren, look at this.
Not now, Zephyr.
What? Why not?
I'm trying to read.
We've been studying, reading. We've been lagging behind and not been able to focus when you go off like this.
Like this, I'm just trying to show you something really cool. Come on, can we take a break for once in our lives?
I really don't want to. We really can't. Not now. Not until I finish.
Come on. Please, pretty please. I promise it will only take a second. And I'll start to read if you do, please.
Okay, fine, fine. I'll get you to stop pulling on my arm. What do you want?
Okay, so look at this clock. So that hour one goes super duper duper fast, right? But then the seconds, it goes so slow like a snail. Did you know there are over 50,000 different type of species, all in different type of colors and shapes? Like the Ghana tiger snail, right? It's the biggest one. And it likes cauliflower, and it likes peanuts, and it's so cool.
Okay. I get that you like snails, but we are really getting sidetracked. Can you repeat what you were saying again about the clock? Wait. Zephyr, this isn't right. Did you break it again?
No, I didn't. I swear I didn't.
You lost some time. Wait, what time did I start reading again? Hold on. It's midnight. Zephyr, did you break the clock?
I don't know. Maybe I may have messed with it.
You what? Don't you know how important it is for us to keep track of time? Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I was getting bored with how slow everything was going, and I didn't mean to make you upset.
You're sorry? You always do this, you know? You just break every single thing that you come into contact with. You can't even help us try to remember our meds or the day of the test, let alone study like I ask of you every single time. Oh my god, why won't you just go away?
But I don't want to feel like a robot. The Adderall may not affect you as much as me, but every time I take it, I feel like shit. I just want to feel like a person.
I didn't mean... You remember that song? It's been a long time since we've listened to that.
Well, it made us happy, and so of course I remember it. I remember it made you happy to hear these type of songs.
Listen, I don't actually want you to go away. I didn't mean those things I said.
It was to heat the moment. You were angry at me. It's okay.
No, it's not. I said horrible things to you, and you can't just say it's okay when it's not. No matter what I say, I need you more than ever. You're the only one that's been with me through the depression and anger and hyperfixations of things that made us happy.
Really?
Really. You always ranting on and on about snails and arthropods and who knows. You are a person, and I'm sorry that I disregarded your feelings like that.
Then, can you trust me?
What? Of course I can.
Then, can you stop telling me what to do? Can you let me do things on my own? I can't find the motivation with you constantly telling me everything to do. And you keep on trying to control me, but you can't. And eventually I'm just gonna break away and find my own way through this.
It's just hard, Zephyr. I don't want us to fail.
Well, isn't failure what is being normal? What makes us normal if everybody's different? Everybody else can fail, so why are we so different compared to theirs normal? You're the logical side. Can't you understand this?
I understand. I don't know, I've never been able to see your ideas with such empathy. To accept this condition, to accept you. We're not normal. We're just what other people would call, I don't know, we're
A person.
we're a person.
No one has ever seen this body. Not since I had to choose between my heels and knees in the bathtub. I have not seen the skin bare in the sunlight, or more personally than stripping down before a shower. I catch a glimpse while pulling up my socks, then carefully tuck myself away again until I am safe for consumption. No one has traced the stretch marks on these thighs or parted this hair to breathe hot against the back of this neck. Has let their fingers brush the bend of these shoulders with intention to fall down the slope of this spine, not just pressed against skin as I lean towards the touch. No one has ever seen this body. I reveal instead the contents of an overflowing mind. My saccharine camera roll, movie analysis and passionate ranting. The characters I love viciously and attack relentlessly, tasting the blood in my teeth as I carve out the words. I offer up my paint-stained fingertips, my half-hearted and sloppy attempts at creation, and the quirk of my lips. But no one has ever seen this body but me.
It is merely time, Archibald. In a mere day's 3, the moon will be perfectly in position, and we shall have our first obedient husk.
Indeed, the prospect excites me to no end, but Guinevere, it concerns me as well. We are toying with things far beyond anything man has ever achieved.
Worry not, my dear Archibald. We have armed ourselves with even the most obscure of precautions.
To our knowledge. Yet how can we know what will occur when we cross this veil? How can we adequately prepare for the infinite potential of complexities, to enlighten for us to comprehend? We are but mere mortals. We could very well be ink blots on parchment, brazenly asserting the impossibility of color.
We cannot know what the consequences will be. It is possible our efforts may be insufficient, but do we also doubt that the sun will rise tomorrow? Do we hold our breath in fear that the wind will turn to Henbane at any moment? Restraining ourselves in fear of unfathomable forces only allows us to surrender without effort.
Do you mean to say that to assume the sun will rise, to notice a pattern, is the same as to let hubris guide us in the act of raising the dead? Who do we think we are, playing with powers that only God was meant to hold? Only He can adequately judge who ought to be on this earth.
don't miss his voice.
Suicide? Oh, no you don't. Let's see, another opt-outer to be filed under eternal asphyxiation without loss of consciousness. Marvin, come here. You don't believe what's going down on Earth. These things are killing each other with such efficiency. It's incredible. The things they're inventing to maximize their own pain. I'm so proud.
I want a divorce.
You're kidding, right? After everything I've done for you? Ah!
Well, perhaps
Your faith deceives you, Archibald. Just because I don't have an answer to your question of how much we know of the mystical, you proceed to assume your own solution? That truly is the perspective of an inkblot. No, we move despite being bound by humanity. We press onward, the unknown be damned.
The rusted chains rubbed against what used to be soft, delicate skin. My chafed ankles were begging for attention. What was left of my bleeding fingernails was now covered in grime and dirt. The creaks. All I heard were the creaks. They were high-pitched, piercing. I held my hands up to my ears, attempting to muffle the horrid noises. There was a deepness to them, indicating the lie living right upstairs. I listened as he woke, getting ready to turn on the facade of a charming young man. I fell for it. Of course I fell for it. He enchanted me, telling me that we'd be together forever. If I'd known it lead to this, held in rusted chains, I would have fled earlier. I heard as he made his first meal, the scent of bacon drifting through any crevice it could reach, mocking my everlasting hunger. As he stepped through the kitchen, the floorboards sent dust flying straight onto my head. I could imagine how the eggs sizzled in an expensive steel pan, threatening to send hot oil straight onto his slightly calloused palm. His pants, perfectly pressed, his shirt meticulously ironed, his smile after the first bite of his big breakfast, radiantly shining. He never made mistakes. All his actions were exact. I had to be the first. The damp floor exuded the smell of mold and mildew, the shackles that once held me now empty of a captive. The boards were silent now, an indicator that he was asleep. I attempted to stay quiet, begging my body to have enough strength to walk up the formidable staircase. My body quaked, only giving energy to my legs and arms, not focused on my chattering teeth. I crept up each stair, slowly, slowly. I was done here. I was going to sleep in my warm bed and take a hot, steamy shower. I opened the door without reservation. I was finally going to go home. He couldn't keep me here forever. I began to pick up the pace towards the front door. Even if he heard me now, he would be far too late to snatch me back into those horrible chains. I passed by the bathroom, ending my sprint. I inhaled the scent of rot. It invaded my senses. I was stuck, trapped. My brain screamed at each joint to run, but they wouldn't listen. Why would they not listen? I needed to know what that smell was. Was I not the only innocent who had fallen for this man's imaginary flair? I opened the door and there he was. His body was mangled. The face that was once burned into my mind now an image of absolute horror. The smell that radiated off the corpse was rancid. Flies buzzed, penetrating my ears with their humming. The once pressed pants were now stuck to his legs, blood making the fabric stiff. His cheeks were sunken in,
and his form was disintegrating. My body shook and my knees buckled to the ground. If he had been gone, what could have been?
I'm waiting to integrate from monotony and to become a pioneer in profundity, to discover nuance that was never lost and claim it as mine. I'm waiting to be revered and credited for decades to come, for my metaphors to be carved in stone, stand proud as statues. Waiting for my words to be worshipped like the gospel, for my poems to become someone's hymns. And I'm waiting to be 6 feet in soil, made into grub by maggots and mealworms, by the time my disciples realized that I was a mediocre false prophet who won't rise again. I'm waiting to experience the blindness that privilege brings, waiting to use my hands to fill for the brow, etched into every surface of American society that reads, "We are not the same," to feel what they feel when they say, "I don't see color." And I'm waiting for the next World War, for Uncle Sam to want more cannon fodder from low-income communities, waiting for them to run out of cemetery space to pit us, waiting to offer the mortally wounded to the waves, the same ones that absorbed Black bodies after they were tossed overboard as collateral casualties. And I'm waiting to see if there's a hierarchy among the dead, or if we were only inferior in this land but will finally be equal in this soil. I'm waiting for Atlantis to float back up, somewhere in the Caribbean, waiting for the top 1% that hoard 50% of all wealth to surrender to the IRS and finally fund bills to clean the ocean. Waiting for children to sing, "This sand is your sin, this sand is my sin," in the mornings, after they pledge allegiance to a country that's notorious for violating treaties. Waiting for more mass graves to be found under schoolyards, for those same children to play duck, duck, goose with the spirits of natives this country killed, trying to destroy any traces of the men inside. Waiting for people to understand that America's only called a melting pot because it burns every shred of culture from your skin and brands you with its own. And I'm waiting to call the woods the stumps, because we needed a holiday to remind us to plant trees but never to cut them. And I'm waiting for the birds to lose their voices because they tried to sing over forest fires caused by our obsession with pretty pinks and boyish blues. And I'm waiting for the dinosaurs to reinstate their reign and restore glory to the animal kingdom. And I'm gleefully waiting for that one British guy in every documentary, Sir David Frederick Attenborough, to narrate the coup. Waiting to bow to Velociraptor and truly experience a world without borders.
I was nurtured in my grandparents' home. My grandma taught me resilience every time our eyes met through her oval-shaped glasses. The maternal grip of Earl Grey tea wrapped tightly around my shoulders. My grandma drank hers with milk and sugar. I withstood the bitter taste, adding twice as much sugar cubes to my mug. We read magazines and scanned the ink for dresses I looked pretty in. On holidays, we indulged in fake wine, filling her finest china with sparkling red liquid. Swishing the wine glass in my right hand, I'd question, "What's that?" while using my left to point to things around the house. "What's that?" That is a desk, the protruding corner that slit my lip in two. "What's that?" That is a piano, the ashes of her that lay rest above the keys I pursue. "What's that?" That is a Buddha figurine, the enlightened depiction of happiness in its highest form, surrounded by dead relatives' possessions. Although Lutheran, he rested in a cabinet as she spoke of her hatred for the Pope. "What's that?" This is tea. The citrus sour notes burn my tongue. Grandma's insistence on cleaning to deck the entire house with decorations, her favorite radio channel. Christmas was my favorite time of year. Glass covered in iridescence,
swaddled with delicacy and brilliance, pine scent emitted from a lit flame, not the plastic branches that shed to the floor and scrape my skin as I fluff the tree. I was tasked with an honest job, pinched between my two fingers, a string maintained sway over the substantial ceramic, never a color-coordinated ornament, always a wiener dog shape, a handmade trinket from one of her grandkids' art classes, or a family heirloom made of porcelain, weighing down the branch, dangling towards the maroon carpeted floor. Elbows bent, hands rested on my hips, admiring what my grandma would tell everyone, from the chair harboring the smell of old age, springs peeking out. She did this all by herself. Vision peering to the 4-foot mark of the tree, bare, intricately painted figures surround a baby in a barn, nestled under the tree. Each day I'd inch the wise men closer to the fragile baby, anticipating the day that he'd receive his gifts. Now my heart leads me to the trove that is her closet. I wear her sweaters from old lady magazines. Irritable material comforts against my skin. And I think of her when I eat cotton candy, as I did after a long day of shopping. It was always stale and hard, but my grandma's love made the sweet spun sugar worthwhile.
You are the idle void that exists within a lusting soul, a star fragmented from its constellation, clinging to the cosmos bound by my sun and my moon, destined to live forever temporarily, punished for the bite she stole from eternity. Nebula horizons restore paradise, celestial cores collapse, commence eternal ultraviolet. An atomic atmosphere and the desire to exhale, suffocate in the unknown, redesign the unreal. You're an idle void that exists within my lusting soul, a star fragmented from your constellation, seducing me into an orbit unexplored, but where the chase only wish you away.
If you could be anywhere right now, where would you be? I would be sitting in my mom's bed, and she would be working palms into the muscles of my back, working a brush through my hair while it was still wet and smelling of conditioner. She'd tell me to lift my arms up high as I can, pull my shirt past my neck, pat my stomach, hold my head in her hands, hook her arms under mine, carrying me in the crook of her neck. I am small enough to, and she loves me enough to. We go down the hall into the kitchen, and she sets me down on the table, grabs an orange from the bottom drawer of our fridge, which is bursting open, digging uncut fingernails into fleshy rind, into nectar-filled pores, tossing peels into the sink. And I can smell pure citrus, and I can smell her pure love in white fibers, in between slices, and I can smell it floating in the air like particles of her honey orange love and her honey orange life. And she sits down and feeds me, separating Earth's membranes in the gentle way a mother does for her daughter. And I can taste it when I bite down, sweet juice exploding through my teeth, cheeks stuffed with syrupy fruit. And I can hear it when she asks if I've had enough. And I can feel it in the napkin she uses to wipe my lips. When I was younger and our fridge was emptier, milk cartons filled with water and cigarette ash, I learned how to make things last. So now I eat fruit down to the bone. I rip apart the muscle, the plastic fibers of the core, peel the seeds with my teeth, and when I eat oranges, I devour the white inner peel rind, scrape at spongy pith like I'm desperate, because I don't want the orange to be over.
It is 5 in the morning. You are letting me share this moment with you. We stopped to get sandwiches, and I don't know it yet, but I owe you everything. We saw the other cars I am empty in the best way possible. I am young. I know nothing, and I have not yet learned cruelty. Look up, you tell me, and there I see it. The sunrise consumes the sky, it flowers down into the gray expanse. A heavenly flame. Orange never looked so beautiful. I wish the sunrise swallowed me to live in the gut of this moment. You showed me the sunrise, Mom, and for that, I owe you everything. I know I will talk about the sunrise in your eulogy. I've been writing it for 2 years now, and back then, I always figured I would read it soon. You're not dead yet, and I'm so glad. But I still believe I'll read it soon. There are good times too, I'll say. And I'll cry because I realize I can only think of the sunrise. Thanksgiving 2020, you tried killing yourself again. I couldn't stop you from going to the bathroom. I begged you to come out. I didn't realize how sharp everything was until I learned the fragility of your skin. I'm glad I tried to help you, but I'm no longer empty. I am filling up. I am halfway there. I told you, please don't leave. I meant don't leave me. I should have said that, but your answer is in your eyes. It is far too late, they said. We found you in the bathroom. You were blue, and your skin was see-through. I could see all your secrets. I stood at the foot of your shrine, and I had no fruit to offer. I can only give you my lungs. Here, take them, I plead. Take them and breathe. You don't take them, and I'm left with nothing but bloody palms. November 30th, the worst day of my life. I heard you were in a coma. 3 days you were asleep, 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. 3 days I tried to forget you, a poor disciple. I trekked to the hospital. It snowed a couple of days before, but you wouldn't know that. When I arrived, saints hung from the rafters, and I hoped not to find you there. But of course I did. You told me about how the iron snake ate your stomach. I really don't want to live anymore, you told me. I really, truly don't. My hands were still dripping with blood. but you wouldn't know that. You asked me to be your friend. I lied and I said I could. I am so sorry for lying. We share a treacherous tongue. You know this. When I left the hospital, I was full in the worst way possible. I wanted to run, but I couldn't muster the strength. I carry the feet of Cain, and I'm cursed to wander this moment forever. You will be in my dreams for weeks to come. I'm trapped in a room, or a hallway, or a house with no exits. And I will hear your voice. Come find me. Don't you hate yourself? You call out. I can, and of course I do. I respond. After you left, I became snakes. I became gardens. I lost the sense of I, and then I found it again. I know you don't know me anymore. I wish you did, for I've seen the world through your eyes for far too long. Have you yet to see them through mine? You are the king of pomegranates. The earth opened its mouth to receive your blood. I'm sorry, you were refused to gardens.
No more times allowing them to control my body, heart, and life. No more times wishing I was a puddle to be in their way. My hands grip the sand, stranded cup on the sand, shoving it off of me and my legs. The water can no longer hold me hostage anymore. I drive myself forward, no longer looking to what could have happened between us. Finally, I realized this beach was always mine. I missed how the sand caused friction between my feet, how the sun gave me warmth that nobody else can, or the sea salt exfoliating my lips and the waves ascending my legs, the mysterious shells peeking through the sand, waiting to be reclaimed. I'm so much more than a puddle in their way. I'm the unpredictable depth of the ocean, and the water bubbles popped from above. I skim from underneath the coral reef, filled with possibility and promise, waiting and waiting for my realization in return. I skim from underneath the surface, and my scales glisten. I will only reveal myself to those worthy to see this depth. I hold my heart like a shell, listening to the whispers of the ocean telling me, I'm not their puddle anymore. I'm so much more.
I saw you through the mask, mirroring the bare face that hides behind, and I craved and indulged even the most broken parts that lie behind those barbed wire gates. You had such joy to touch my body, to feel the ridges and dips upon my sanctuary. this safe haven that beholds my shrine filled with gold, you felt with your filthy fingertips. Laying upon your skin, indulging into what I thought was an oasis. I fed too much on the intimacy. Intimacy made me feel connected to those broken wires that spark with shocks. Approaching your sanctuary, opening those barbed wire gates to nothing but broken wires and despair. Your sanctuary worth not a penny. Laying upon my altar as the dust caresses my face, feeling cold and bare. My sanctuary now poor and valueless. Though I'm still the person I always was, and you'll never be the person you claim to be, and now you are little and inferior, and soon you will be stripped of everything from your sanctuary. I'll be the rich memory that exists forever.
After a long day in a factory, I can feel it getting hot again, ready for what's to come next. So I creep into the kitchen to get something to eat. But before I can make it, she's banging her hands on his chest. He's shoving her to the floor. And then the insults. I should have never married you. You're the reason this family's falling apart. I have to sit there and listen to every cruel thing they say. I have so much to say. I have so much I want to say, but these paper-cut lips are scared of bleeding in front of you. If I breathe in too deeply, I will no longer be able to keep in the storm brewing in this body. But right when it starts to get cold, it gets hot again. But that's okay. It'll be better in the morning.
Floating astray in this galaxy towards different planets, when we were once grounded here, even through meteor showers of disagreements and disconnection, wandering in stark darkness among glistening stars that were once taken for granted, an absence of gravity pushed us further apart. This black hole absorbs my spirit into the void of dark matter, alone with unanswered silence, more questions and less answers. At one point, I thought the force of gravity to save you, pulled you out of the trenches of non-existence, fabricated the distance between us. But now I accept that the stars have lost their shimmer. Steadily, I am drifting towards a new planet. The light radiates potential, a reflection of my own star, not in the distance, but within my grasp. I found myself.
I like the way honey-infused tea coats my throat. Cubes of sugar dissolve into hints of ginger and basil, warming me to a gentle spring breeze. Lilies of the springtime teach me the words, I love you, scaring me so much I can never stop saying them. My heart suffers a wasp sting, leaking infected pus into a cup of coffee. I wish I drank coffee. I tried to enjoy coffee so I could embrace the espresso shots you mix into cream alongside our breakfast. I confess, I don't actually drink coffee. The aftertaste stains the underside of my tongue, and the caffeine doesn't give me the rush it's meant to. I'm sorry, I tell you. I don't like coffee. I like tea in its place. It moves like waves splashing against my teeth, cleanses my tongue, and soothes my voice from the strain of seeming natural. You lie beside me as the sun beams through the leaves, illuminating the gentle blades of grass surrounding our blanket. I always hesitated with love, restricting the words to the back of my congested throat. But then your eyes meet mine, you smile at me, and you say, well, in that case, we can grow lemon and mint leaves to garnish your tea. We can bake pastries together to complement our drinks. We can visit local beekeepers and collect fresh honey just for you.
Every person once loved by my family has sunken into the earth, decayed by time, whether from the gas chambers, old age, or insanity. All that remains of those ancestors is an American granddaughter, swathed in denim and cakey foundation. There are few similarities between the people who would have loved me and myself. We only share facial features. In summertime, when I visit my father's parents, I spend hours digging through old pictures, spotting young men and women with the same structure and spacing. Weddings, bar mitzvahs, and everyday life spill over my palms. Dozens of distant relatives with the same round face, dark features, and long ears. In January, I spend time with my mother's side, and our stories are passed between arguments and early morning echoes. Crazy Aunt Janet from another planet, Grandpa's cousin who crashed a car into a tree, and weird cousin Aaron, who everyone says I look like. Laser turned Lewis by the immigration officials, his wife who left the old country at my age, and Helen, who fled the Nazis with her 3 children through Woodland. My dad comes from grand, sunny cities like Istanbul and Cairo, but I'm here in southeastern Pennsylvania, trying to drink in the weak Philadelphian sun. My hair is in that awkward stage where I cannot yet style it, and it hangs clumsily over my shoulders in tufts of walnut. Darkest gold shoots through the layers and bangs I cut myself over a sink basin. It's inherited from both parents, the soft brown color being typical on my mom's side, but the straight, thick, and oily nature of each strand a trait from my dad. On early Sunday mornings, spent directly in front of the mirror, I can see the linear nasal bone stretching upwards from the prairie of flesh that forms the face's center. The nose bridge is aloof. It thinks it's too good to lie flat against the baby fat of my cheeks. Only when cartilage pulls above the cupid's bow will it melt into the dermis. Every accomplishment is here. Every night I stay up writing is under my eyes. My anxiety stained my lips red pink, and it's the only thing I share with the family I'll never know. Am I betraying them when I smear beige paste beneath my eyes and thin out my hair? I'd like to think that they are proud of me, that they love me, and maybe one day we could share something other than facial features and the sensation of never quite belonging.
I was born on the 15th of July, shoved in the middle of 3 elder siblings. I flipped through photo albums of each swaddling me, with furrowed brows and drooping lips. I'm a Cancer sun, which means I'm expected to let my emotions ooze from the corners of my mouth, letting the bitter juices drip onto others. My Cancer moon means I'm highly in tune with mine and others' emotions. And if that were true, maybe I would be better at comforting people when their tears began to boil. My Leo rising makes me egotistical for 5 minutes until I catch a glimpse of my hair. My hair is naturally wavy, dangling past my broad shoulders. But I sear each strand of my identity, yanking the scourging dryer through each wave. I twist and turn my hair between the brown claw clip, as I always felt pots of tears spewing in my eyes, staring at the unkempt yarn hidden under the thickness. I've been vegetarian for 3 years, riding wads of tofu and meatless meat down my throat. But in truth, I cannot resist eating honey glazed salmon and spicy tuna rolls. When asked why I deny myself meat, I say for the environment. And my man who told me to never speak a lie. But in those moments, I shouted. I avoid the warm, crispy, salty chicken in fear my weight will creep up. I would tell you I have no resentment toward my body, that I've erased the hatred. But some lies must be spoken. I speak too much, letting words fly off my tongue, waiting for someone to swat me shut. Oversharing has come easy for me, yet I don't share enough. I can acknowledge the fights my mother and I have, and my sprouting dislike towards my elder sister, yet I refuse to speak the truth about how I feel. I lie about my well-being, even to my therapist. No, I have not had harmful thoughts in the past 48 hours. Of course, I'll message you if I'm feeling unsafe. Yes, I'm feeling better after our session. I won't tell my therapist I feel unhappy with my life, but why must he know the truth? I enjoy laughing and creating sarcastic remarks with my friends, but I cover my mouth each time a laugh erupts, as I can imagine my yellow-tinted teeth resemble a horse's too much. I still enjoy to wear a face mask because it conceals the pimples lodged in my skin. And please, for God's sake, do not take photos of me. I cannot bear the sight of my own face. I will only stand for photos when my grandma reaches for her phone because I feel at best with her. I love my parents and even my siblings. Trust me, I do enjoy being around them. But I fear they don't like me. When I become too blunt and point out their wrongs, I won't listen to you if you yell at me. La 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 la, I don't care if you hate me. Oh my God, can you please shut up? I'm tired of hearing you complain. I can feel their screams flaring deep in their throats, waiting for my final remarks to spark them out. I'm scared my mother doesn't love me anymore, that our fate has been written for us. We won't acknowledge the false exchange in our interactions, and apologies can only be imagined during my dreams. But I cannot resent my mother, no matter how hard I try, because I love her, and I want her to love me, to tell me it is okay, that we will find a way back together. And I'm scared I have turned into a bad person, that my flower beds of kindness have rotted, and the weeds have wrapped themselves around my heart. My friends tell me I'm a good person, yet I cannot harvest their words into my mind, no matter how hard I try. Every night, when I shut my eyes, I hope that somewhere in the emptiness of my thoughts, part of my innocence is buried in the soil and will blossom. To be honest, I fear I have lost control of my life, that it has slipped from the cracks of my whittling hands, and I am unsure of who I am and where I am bound to go. But there is one thing I am sure of. I am sure I am Sophia Elise Collazo. I am 18 years old, and despite swarming in my pools of truth, I am still searching. I am searching for the happiness buried in the fresh potted soil, for my life to blossom into a garden of wildflowers and stripping away the weeds. Even if I don't get my garden, I am glad I was able to speak honestly to you.
I arise from my slumber more eager than the day before, fervor twirling through my veins. It's days like today I find myself selfish in desire, indulging in dreamy ignorance. The perfumed air, the powdered clouds, the honeybee dawn, how bliss swaddles me so sweetly. The nights enter in perfected order, pulling me away from my thoughts. They've come to escort me to my final rehearsals before I am whisked into a role unbending. With this, my heart pulls into puddles as I feel my soul cling to the remnants of my youth ever so tightly. If I wish myself a superpower, I would make this moment last for hours. If I had my way, time it would stand still. Wait for me till I find some magic film to take a photograph and inside. Presses on the swell of my back, my shoulders rising on strings. The peak of my heels pinch in disdain, the heft of books weighed down atop my hair, a lack of elegance so clear with each sway. I can only imagine how heavy a crown must feel. This is the stance of a ruler, or so I've been told time and time again. An heiress, a daughter, a wanderer, all dresses I've worn proudly. But here, with my crimped posture and my polished facade, I simply wish to go back to this morning. If I wish myself a superpower, I would make this moment last for hours. If I had my way, time it would stand still. Wait for me until I find some magic film to take a photograph. I fade back into my peaceful habits, my clumsy efforts masqueraded by truth. These shoes are far too large for me to fit, rooting me down from the comfort of the clouds. I'm nervous, terrified more so. I don't want to bid farewell, not to this palace, this daydream, this fantasy, I don't. I need some way to prove that this was real. A memory is not enough. I'm scared that I'll forget the way it feels to be young and in love. Coronation day arrives as swiftly as ever. My steps are delicate, and my posture speaks with practiced prestige. I'd be lying if I said I was ready. The walls of my tower begging me back. But with this crown also comes my courage, as I look forward to the title of tomorrow. I could see through it, the glass house. I could see through its brittle structure. I knew that it could shatter at any moment, and yet it still became my home. There was someone there with me. The two of us lived together, happily, comfortably. And whenever I felt the urge to purge the poison from my system, there he was, holding back my hair, ushering me back into his arms. He held me up, and then he wore me down. But I was meant to stick around, otherwise the house would break. And I'd walk in through the back door, afraid to meet his judgmental gaze, unable to stand tall as I knew that he could see through my facade. Under the light in which I am soulless, the eye in which I am nothing. Oh, how beautiful would it be to no longer think like a machine? To find the courage and the hopelessness, to find the strength to meet him head on. Am I ready to face him? I'd question my everything. Am I ready? to let go. I've lived alone before, but that was such a long time ago. Am I ready to be free? I wasn't. And so I stayed in that bed, and stayed in the house, and I slept in that bed, as I was the one who had made it. I tried my best to hold everything together, crying out apologies when the walls around me began to crack. Those were the times when I threatened to let go. And then I shrank into myself. What a sight to see. Playing house with a partner absent all but when I needed him the least. Walking on eggshells in what's meant to be my sanctuary. A cold chill in the air any time that he is near. A cavern devoid of any lively movement. I shrunk into myself more and more as the days went on. I became weak. I became dependent. I was at the very least exhausted. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. I could never be okay again. Until I was. And suddenly I could see the structure for what it really was. It was nothing but glass. It trapped me like an iron cage, though it was nothing but glass. It closed in on me when the sun would set. Still, it was nothing but glass. One day the front door was open. When I walked through, that was me deciding that I could breathe and never consider returning. I decided that I could learn to exist on my own. Not that I was better, not that he wasn't still a distant thought, because I know that I cry the most on the days where I miss him the least. Still, I left. And suddenly I could see through the house. And suddenly I could see through his thinly veiled disguise. And then, for the first time, I realized that I could never be safe because we built glass houses, and the only one throwing stones was you.
Here is my theater of irresistible power. Enter impetuously and leave with your heart hanging from the opera box, veins disconnected, and hands clinging to your throat, as I demand your pupils to beg after I've watched you sin just for a strike of my light. Jubilant, powerful moments encapsulates my punctiliousness to my guests, my resistance to fate, the lining of my auditorium built for this production. During intermission, you'll notice cherubs painted onto my ceiling far out of your reach, waiting to eat the pitiful berries that fall from your tear ducts. You're welcome to join them above, though if an angel stops praise, they fall. They hold arrows plaited by my hair and grip your tension. I inhale it into my being, my existence ineffable. The opulence hidden under my flesh is the cynosure of all eyes. I do not allow food, drink, or incentive to divert your consciousness. There's a discrepancy between your desire for power and my devotion to entertain. But you have forgotten to daydream, and I do not care to induce you with a fantasy that isn't mine. If courageous enough to form a nightmare, I expect to be the terror causing your trembles, yet also the relief when you wake. I'm liable to disintegrate your critique, stifle your applause, for my words aren't just a feast set upon a table for you. Imagine you are the utensil feeling the force of my jaw as I chew away your meaningless accolades. Dare to sneak popcorn seeds onto my floor, and spill caffeine onto my treasures and wet butter tips onto my armrest stand. You'll never dare to play again while under my amusement. Beyond the final page of my script, the truth will transfix you, and I will repeatedly find you lost outside my arena. I'll engrave celestial promises into your skin. Identify the unclaimed freckles, widen the questions between your eyebrows. But you bring misunderstandings in the form of broken awards. Yet, you submit when I call for a standing ovation, because I bring definition to your ears and purpose to your palms. And it is not to say that I am a labyrinth and you foreseeable, though I've summoned you past the red carpet, through the gallery of my mind, and on to velvet seats. I want you to remember how I haunted your breath.
A woman is a god drowning in her own. She plants monochrome gems under her eye bags. Her mood ring is always stuck on orange, except for when she walks back home with lipstick glued to her neck. The colors collide and conceal her mood from the inside. She is the embodiment of her own palette. Her mother wants her to eat more, pushes peas and cranberry sauce, says, "Oh, pumpkin," like a prayer. She wishes there were ancient, forbidden knowledge to be found in her own warm red blood. She longs to be tucked into the peaceful crevices of her childhood, but the trembling hands of her mother remind her why she tries so hard to forget. Her religion is other women. Her skull conjugates around a fire. There's a spiritual rumble in the dehydrated voices who aren't used to saying so much. She calls out to her women of faith. She's never met anyone so gentle, so saccharine. Like the dawn that will blossom, she's jealous of the light that kisses their cheeks, desires the buzzing song of queen bees lifting flower weights on their impossible wings. They all take their time helping the earth to unfold. She was a little girl once, thoughtless, ribboned, and jubilant. She has retired being a person, so let her sit solemnly in a room alone with her knees folded to one side. She will retreat into herself like a cocoon. Let her daydream about her body bursting with psalms, her limbs floating softly in a jar of honey. She is the god of sound made by a fist unfolding into petals. She was only hungry, and there are berries beyond the fence. What's a little blood and bone?
I am waiting. I am waiting for the barbed hair on legs, for broad-edged shoulders and spinosfuzz blush. I am waiting for the shaved upper lip of Marina Abramovic, the plucked chin hairs of Valiette's port, and the metalled meat of Schneemann Zazila. I am waiting for Americanized Gutai, for the illusory liberation of girl youth and the falsified death of the blood in underwear. I am waiting for the honey, scalpel, lipstick, naked body, loaded gun, loaded flower bouquet, fleeing guilt and absolved violation. I am waiting for the blood moon of September, for manicured and ambitioned hands, pulling, stretching, reaching towards the fleshed raw neck of the uterus and to exceed this carnal pleasure, and for steel-welded morality to melt onto my soft, gentle, willing, and aching skin. And I am waiting for meat joy's second coming, for the violence of a muscled, carnivorous cove and gore-slick folds to finally be satisfied, for repulsion, repression, and desire to be labeled love. And I am waiting for the celebration of flesh, for the joy of love and the kiss of kineticism, for the destruction and embrace of taboos, for the interconnectedness of reverent desire. And I am waiting for the choice of temporal over artistic celebration and destruction, for the possibility of mundanity, of the acre of skin over thick bones, the plucked, nerve-ridden spine, the exhausted, yell-shriveled lungs, and the manhandled heart. And I am waiting for strangling femininity and unknown sacrifices, for heuristic pain and the manly desire for gore as revolution, and for his larger-than-mine hands to wind around my neck and shut me up. And I am waiting for my own hands, excusably rough, knuckle-cramped, grotesquely sweaty, unwomanly hairy, to smother us both.
We want to thank you for all that you taught us and introducing us to Zebo. We still think of him and cigars many times. Who's it?
Mr. Ippolito! Grateful for the pure amount of times you were willing to argue about politics with me, and for introducing us to this cinematic masterpiece that was in several scenes of Jaws without any sound.
And I'd like to bring up Miss Shin. Technological difficulties in daily life, this show, every day of journalism class, which was entirely online, and has just been a wonderful inspiration and a teacher.
had something to do. Wait, no, but anyways, Grammy has made this class amazing for all of us. She has been the reason for all of this, like this entire show. Somehow she did it, and she also did a musical last week. And she's not here, so let's at least give her a round of applause.
And next up, drum roll please. We have Mr. Corona! Mr. Corona, I would like to thank you for leading us our senior year and letting us express ourselves freely regarding our writing and just creatively. You are amazing and you are a silly man that just likes to play board games. We love you!
We would also like to thank all of our other teachers for being supportive.
Mr. Noga!
Mr. Noga. Mr. Duffy. Thank you. I've missed all my classes these last 2 weeks. Thank you for letting me do that.